Hello, work life warriors. I hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk to you about reading. Today is Monday. On Mondays at noon, I do a topic of the week, which is one of my 50 tips, tools, tricks, or techniques to manage stress. Today's tool was reading, which is perfect because today I wanted to come to you and read another poem from this book and talk a little bit about Reading is so fundamental to your brain's growth and development. Your brain is a muscle, so you want to continue to read. And so reading helps to reduce stress. It is so beneficial in so many ways. And so you want to go out of your way at least at some point every single day to try to read something, an article. Facebook is not a book. A poem, a couple of poems, maybe a couple of pages if you're religious, whatever type of tool you use, like a Bible, some aspirational quotes. There's so many things that you can read, some comics, but just try to exercise your brain daily. So again, today's poem is from this. I'm more than half through. I try to read at least about 5 pages of poetry each morning because I'm a poet and I love poetry. However, I also do other reading, whether it's a book or article or a textbook. I'm always reading. Recently, I haven't been doing any reading for pleasure outside of poetry, but this morning, I did read my cheeses again. As you know, I read them once a month. So I read them this morning. And so I'm back on track. And today I did a little reading from this poetry collection. And today's poem comes from one of the best, Nikki Giovanni. It's called The Woman Gather for Joe Strickland. The woman gather because it is not unusual to see comfort in the hours of stress. A man must be buried. It is not unusual that the old bury the young, though it is an abomination. It is not strange that the unwise and the ungentle carry the banner of humanness, though it is not a castration of the spirit. It no longer shatters the intellect that those who make war call themselves diplomats. We are no longer surprised that the unfaithful pray loudest every Sunday in every church, and sometimes in rooms facing east, though it is a sin and a shame. So how do we judge a man? Most of us love from our need to love not because we find someone deserving. Most of us forgive because we have trespassed, not because we are magnanimous. Most of us comfort because we need comforting. Our ancestors' ritual demand that we give what we hope to receive. And how do we judge a man? We learn to greet when meeting, to cry when parting, and to soften our words at times of stress. The women gather with cloth and ointment, their busy hands bowing to the lawns that decree. Willows shall stand swaying but unbroken against even the determined wind of death. We judge a man by his dreams, not alone by his deeds. We judge a man by his intent, not alone his shortcomings. We judge a man because it is not unusual to know him through those who love him. The women gather strangers. To each other they have loved a man. It is not unusual to sift through ashes and find an unburnt pitcher. I love that. It was such a beautiful poem. It was culture rich. It reminds you of just, how interwoven our lives are, especially in this male dominated world, with patriarchy, and toxic masculinity. It really helps to put things in perspective, to talk about how women can come together because they love one person. They could gather as strangers and walk away as friends. They have so many unique stories that bind them, and being a woman in this society is such a unique experience. And so I just love how she talked about, certain things like, in times of stress, we practice gentleness, and soften our words, and that, we come together in times of stress, and celebrate the person, not alone the person, but the struggles and the experiences that come along with, being, living, in this society as a, African American. And so then it goes into like, how do we judge a man? And it's true, it's like most of us love from our need to love. Like, we need to love someone, and we don't necessarily care if someone is loving us back. And that's where a lot of us make a mistake, because we're constantly loving, and we're loving from our need to be loved, and we're not loving because we find someone deserving of our love. We just want to love. Most of us forgive not because we have trespassed it, and because we are magnanimous. And so I just love that. And most of us comfort because we need comforting. Amen. Most of us, need so many comfort. We need hugs and kisses and words of affirmation and so many other things that we just don't get, especially since COVID hit. We barely touch each other, and we need those hugs. Hugs are so beneficial to our health and reducing stress. Kisses as well, words of affirmation, and we need those things. And so a lot of what we do, we're doing to serve our own needs, and we don't even recognize that we're going out and getting what we need, even though we're not prioritizing what we need more than some things, right? But we're always getting what we need. I love when it said, we judge a man by his dreams, not alone by his deeds, which again is kind of one of those things that we kind of, miss the mark on, because a person can be a dreamer, and his deeds can be not pure and very negative and harmful to so many people. We judge a man by his intent, not alone by his shortcoming. That one is a good one, because intention is everything. Someone can intentionally try to do you harm, and it fails. And you need to know what people's intentions are. And people sometimes have all the good intentions, and it fails horribly in a negative way. But what they intended to do may overweigh what really happened. And we judge a man because it is not unusual to know him through those who love him. And that's really um, our experience in a nutshell. We know people, or begin to love people through the people who love them, right? They tell you who they are, the experiences that they have with them. And that's why we are so trusting when we hear people's stories and things pop up on the media, and we're so trusting in that because we know people through the people who love them, right? And we also have to be careful with that, because just because they love someone doesn't mean that they love themselves, which means that sometimes things can be untrue.